All right.
That's a
So
lot.
quick question here around like risk and management in general. Now that you've covered sort of how your RR kind of changes from time to time. Obviously, you chose prop firm trading as your entry point. Makes a ton of sense. You're not risking your own capital. You get sort of free risk, if you will, just from the cost of the accounts themselves. We love that concept here. We automate a lot of prop firm accounts on our platform with our customers as well. Makes sense. The problem is you don't get to risk in the same way that you would if it were an actual account. So can you walk us through the journey on how you've managed like drawdowns and daily loss parameters, and how you've been able to see more winning days than losing days? How are you managing risk in general?
Well, let me start off by saying is that when I'm trading, listen, we'll talk more about Forex because that's where I made over $300,000 already.
Sure. Okay.
I'm getting into futures now, but the parameters of how the account is entirely different. Futures and Forex are two totally different animals. So I'm just going to talk about Forex for now
Sure.
because so for me and what I rely on heavily, especially as a swing trader, is that the firm has to be fully balance based. So meaning is that your daily drawdown and your overall drawdown has to be from your initial account balance or on closed positions, because a lot of these firms, they have something called hybrid drawdown or equity drawdown. So meaning is that, okay, say you're in a swing trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're up 5% on the swing, but my swings could go to 20, 25%, right? So say I'm up 5% and the day ends at 5 p.m. Let's just say that the daily drawdown resets at the end of the day. So at 5 o'clock. So now I'm up 5%. So now the drawdown on an equity or a hybrid drawdown is going to take the highest amount from either your daily or your equity at the end of the trading day. So now say I'm up $5,000 on a 100K account.
Mm-hmm.
If the next day now, right, the trade comes to break even when I know it's going to go far lower, now the account's breached, which is insane because you shouldn't be penalized on a trade that you're up $5,000.
That's right. Right.
That's a joke. I do not like that. And I'm very loud on my Twitter. I say, if you're a swing trader, you cannot trade an equity or hybrid.
That's right.
It's criminal to even have that. It's just a way for for the firm to get people to breach their accounts. Literally, I don't care what they say. They're not trying to protect you. They're in this to make money. How do they make money? Listen, newsflash for everybody. Unless a futures firm or a Forex firm is bringing you to a live account, they need you to lose. Sorry, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They need the money from losing traders.
Yep.
That's
That's
how
how
the
it goes.
business thrives.
That's how it
It's
works.
the only way they make money.
Yeah.
Unless you're taken to a live account where you're both mutually benefiting.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. Don't overcomplicate the model. That's how they make money.
That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's yeah, I went off tangent there, but that's essentially how
So
I
yeah,
would
we
trade
got the
account
on
is
balance prop
yeah,
accounts, but now how are you managing risk even in
yes.
your trades?
So
Position sizing and so
so
forth.
normally I will always risk 2% on a trade.
Okay.
But some prop firms don't allow you to do that. Like they don't like it. They'll say you're gambling. Or it's like, how am I gambling if there's a daily drawdown? Like why would so sometimes they'll say you're not allowed to risk 2% on an account, but it's like, why would you limit the amount that I'm allowed to risk when there's a daily loss limit? It literally makes no sense to me. Don't have a daily loss limit then.
Yeah.
Right? Am I crazy? Like
No.
they just want to marginalize you in a way because they know it's like, okay, but if I risk 2% and I burn the account, you're okay with that. But if I risk 2% and I make like six figures, it's a problem now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. It's just so see-through. It's like insane to me. And then most of the times when I was with the prop firms, they would already limit me to 1% risk
Right.
or like 0.5% risk. It's like, come on, man. I know what you're
Yeah.
doing. Like I really know.
This was my trouble when I got into prop firm trading as well. I'm willing to take much larger drawdowns in a futures account for much larger upside. And typically, I'm working on 5-to-1 to 6-to-1 trades where I'm risking $5,000 to make 25 or 30K.
Me too.
So you can't do that in a prop firm account. So what they're looking for is that consistency where you're always risking $300 to make $600 and you're turning those trades over and over again. But the markets don't work that way. Sometimes you have huge runs that pay for all of your losses.
But and that's the thing with like consistency rules and stuff is that like for a swing trader, it's like why I can't take now. I can't take advantage of A+ market conditions.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the market isn't static. It's not going to be the same, and they try and make it like that's what. Okay, another fun fact.
Okay.
They have these rules because the highest failure rate is from scalpers and day traders.
That's right.
Swing traders don't burn accounts as much.
That's
So
right.
they're going to tailor everything to those people who burn the accounts. You don't think that they have the data on all this? You're out of your mind.
Hmm.
They have all of this data. And all of the prop firm owners are in a group chat talking. And I know for a fact because people told me, and because I've been banned by multiple different firms who are all in cahoots together.
Hmm.
So they're all talking, and you think that they're sitting at a round table saying, "How can we benefit the trader?" Dude, they want you
The,
to lose. They're thinking, "What are the ways that we can make these people lose money without them noticing?"
sure. And then keep coming back for more accounts.
Of
So
course,
yeah,
that's
of
the
course.
game.
And that's the name of the game. I totally get that part. So you figured out that 2% wasn't going to work because you end up with the daily loss limit.
Well, this is the thing: is that
Okay.
I no, I would risk 2%. The
Hmm.
problem is that they would deny my payouts or they would breach my account
Sure.
because I would risk 2%, or they would like if you risk 2% on a challenge and you're passing in one trade, I can almost guarantee it if the firm
They're
isn't.
not going to pay out. Yeah.
No, but not only that, they'll deny your funding or they'll limit you to 1%.
Yeah. Now
They
I'm
will.
seeing a lot of rules cropping up where they want to see at least four days of trading before they'll even approve a payout as well. So you can't even get in
Yeah,
and
so
get
a
your
lot
payout
of
in the
these
first day.
forex firms now is that
Yeah.
they have a 40% best day rule or 50% best day
Right.
rule. There was
Consistency rules
listen,
are pretty common now.
there are firms out there who don't have this. Like Think Capital, they
Hmm.
don't have it, and they're a fully balance based firm. Alpha Capital, who I'm with, they literally brought me up to the Alpha Prime program where I'm now in a live account, real
Okay.
capital. I
Got it.
just started. I actually just hit a $2,500 trade today on my live account. So listen, the experience with Alpha Prime has been freaking phenomenal so far. Like I have big goals and dreams. I want to scale this account up to 7 figures.
Hmm.
And the support I get, I want a live chat every single day and literally talking to them. And we have a goal for us is that all right now there's only, I think they were telling me that they only have 6 live traders. Like they just got this off the ground. But the upside potential is that you can rely on your payouts coming all the time. I'm trading real life capital now.
Right.
No sim. I can DCA into a trade if I want to.
Sure. So now you
I
can
can,
swing.
you know what I mean? Like if I
Yeah.
want to get to a swing, I want to take a starter position
Hmm.
and I'm confident. I'm like, all right, I'm cool with entering here if the trade starts to take off. But if it comes back down a little more, I want to enter in more. With Apex, and all these other accounts, you can't DCA. You can't. And you can't swing trade. I could hold trades overnight. I was like,
Yeah.
I've never done this before, especially with futures. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I love Alpha Prime. Like, I'm forever like indebted to them to like for them to even give me the opportunity of this because
Hmm.
it's been amazing so far. I love it.
So we spoke a couple of weeks ago, and you hadn't yet landed a live account. You said that this is a recent thing. So first,
Yeah.
congratulations!
Yes.
Obviously, heading to
Oh,
live was one of the aims here,
yeah.
and this changes things a lot for you because obviously the risk parameters are a lot different on the live account than they are for a prop account.
Yeah.
But what I'm gathering from some of the way you're describing this now is know the rules for each prop firm that you're considering, and it sounds like you've tried all of them. I do
Any
want to.
any firm that is slightly reputable, I
Yeah.
gave them a chance.
You gave him a chance. At one
Yes.
point, I think and maybe I'd like to dive into this part of the story because I know when we spoke a couple weeks ago, you said at one point you had sort of loaded up a credit card to buy all these
Oh
accounts
yeah.
all at the same time.
Listen,
But
I wouldn't recommend anybody do that, but I was delusional, man. I was.
I'm with you. But I think what I'm mostly interested is how you're managing so many accounts at the same time. So, uh,
Honestly, a lot of people on Twitter ask me that. They go, "How are
okay,
you doing that?" It is literally a full-time job to just manage the accounts.
sure,
I need like a secretary. It is a lot, but granted, I used to have a lot more accounts, but
yeah,
I'm no longer allowed to trade with a lot of firms.
okay,
So it's honestly becoming easier for me because it's less and less. But yeah, so since I'm trading on a higher time frame, I
right,
want to stress this that it is easier for me
yeah,
because normally on for my futures accounts, I'll normally enter on a 15 or a 30-minute time frame. So think about it like this: like each candle is 15 to 30 minutes. I can easily go from like, Project X to Tradeovate to Quantower, which I use for Apex. And I
Mhm.
have a lot of accounts linked with my Quantower. That's my number one. Everyone asks me, like, when I post my screenshots, they go, what platform are you using? I use Quantower.
Okay.
I was never a fan of NinjaTrader. I think it's an extremely outdated platform. It looks super old school. Listen, a lot of people love it. That's fine.
Mhm.
I just prefer the simplicity of Quantower. I think it's amazing, super beginner friendly. I learned the entire platform on one YouTube video in like an hour.
Okay.
So that's what I yeah. So
So you're
and
just kind of managing each window and like
yeah, personally,
you'll find an intro.
I have like a lot of tabs open,
Yeah.
and then my forex accounts, I do yeah, that those are on like a 30-minute or like an hour or a 2 hour chart. So it's like those are pretty simple for me to get into. Sometimes if I'm trading a 4 hour, I'll set like a TP. I'll set like a what's it called? Like a
Like a bracket order.
bracket order.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
I couldn't find the name. Yeah, like a bracket order
Yeah.
for the account,
So
and
you
then
have your stop loss and your take profit, you set your
right,
risk reward right there and you lock them
yeah.
all in.
But for my forex accounts, I never use a hard stop loss. It's always a mental because based on I used to use hard stops,
Mhm.
but I noticed especially on gold, I'll get a liquidity wick, and I know it'll be a manipulation move and a false move, and
Mm.
it'll just go in my direction. So I learned my lesson that way. I listen. I recommend everyone use hard stops just for me personally. And I have years of data, like especially with gold. I know that there's a lot of liquidity volatility wicks that are just fake out wicks,
Mm.
and especially with being able to
Especially with how bullish it is right now.
oh my god, you're yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, the amount of money I made on gold alone is like, especially with the market conditions, you have to take advantage of this,
Mhm.
and that's what's awful about like some of these accounts is that like you have to show a consistency rule. It's like for me to be able to swing like and hit a home run in a trade, like it's not gambling. It's just like me taking advantage of A plus market conditions. You may never see these conditions again.
Right.
Like that's why to have a personal account and like to have a live account, that's why it is like astronomically better. Is that you could literally do whatever you want. There are no rules. Like but I only recommend that to when you have prop firms are good for building yourself and having those. Listen, sometimes those hard rules are what a beginner trader needs is because
Sure.
it'll build you to the point to where you have that emotional stability and that risk management and knowing to stick to only your A plus setups. Is that if you're not in a position to have that, you will burn your live account. You
Right.
will. You'll
Right.
get emotional. You'll overtrade and you'll over risk. And sometimes the prop firms are good for that. Like you have to know, like you have to know when you're ready to take that step. You
Mhm.
know, only you can be honest with yourself. Like if you're churning through those Apex accounts, if you're on 1,000 PAs, like you're not ready for a live account. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you're not.
So do you feel like a lot of people are probably just tilting out because they're over position sized or they're just not setting close enough stops, or like should most people trade micros instead of
Yes.
the e-minis?
Especially with Apex, man, they're running those 90%. You're getting accounts for $15.
Mhm.
These people are full margining and hedging. They're going, okay, NQ loans, NQ shorts, full margin, and they're trying to get funded.
Mhm.
I didn't get funded like that. And I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
You should treat that account the same way that you would treat your live account. The
Right.
same way. Or
Right.
you're creating bad habits for yourself.
So you're seeing that now as you've made it to a live account. Some of those rules are starting to disappear, but you're still managing risk the same way?
Of course, with listen, with more freedom, there comes a lot more responsibility.
Right. Right.
I promise you, I'm telling you right now, I'm not even. I'm still trading micros in my live account.
Got it.
I
Nice.
traded 4 micros today on NQ.
Yeah.
4.
4.
I made 2.5K.
Yeah.
That's plenty for me. I'm
Add
good.
to it. Yeah, that's right.
You know?
So the difference now with a live account is that with those risk parameters being a little bit less of a deal, you're still managing, some kind of consistent returns. But then how do payouts work on the live accounts now?
So for me,
Mhm.
like for Alpha Prime, I think it's bi-weekly.
Okay.
And but the scale, but you're not understanding is that the scalability with them is that he wants to take his name is James. He wants to take me to like 7 figures. And
Right.
He's been amazing to me. Like
Like less
we,
payouts, just keep building the equity,
I
right?
want to make this account astronomical,
Right.
like
Right.
huge.
Yeah.
And the only rule that they do have is the daily loss limit, which isn't bad at all.
Yeah.
It's literally he just doesn't want you to like. I was asking him, I was like, is there a chance where when I get a buffer on the account, like, so I could, for me, like, especially with Apex, is that
Mhm.
when I get a buffer on the account, I could then risk a little more because now the account's static. There's no more trailing drawdown for me. I
Right.
got past that when I made $2,600.
Yeah.
Now there's over 20 grand in the account, but I'm still risking micros. I'm not taking minis.
Yeah.
I'm still remaining, I'm keeping the same risk that I had.
Hmm.
Like when you have that buffer, now people risk like they're putting on huge size.
Yeah.
I'm not
They
doing
want a
that.
huge win in a single day. Yeah. You're keeping it consistent.
Then now you're crushing your consistency rule.
That's
Like,
right.
there is no consistency rule in a live account.
Yeah.
There's none.
Right.
And
Interesting.
yeah,
So do
it's a
you,
whole different, you have to get yourself ready for that. And
yeah.
I was ready for that when I got the call up to them, and I was like, I could really take advantage of this live account. And I wanted to be with a firm where, like, they're giving me real life capital. Like, this was a huge goal for me. I
Mhm.
didn't care the amount of capital. I just wanted somebody to be like, listen, we're going to bring you up to the big leagues. You have a live account. Like, that was amazing to me when they asked me that. I loved it. So
Mhm.
I'm all in for them. And that's my main focus right now.
Mhm.
Them, my Apex accounts, and whatever firms that I got left on Forex. I don't have many left on Forex, but like, literally, I want to take my Apex account to $1 million on my first PA attempts.
Yeah.
Like, how many people could say that they did that? My first 20 PAs, I want to bring to $1 million.
Yeah.
That not a lot of people could say that they did that, and I want to bring my live account to 6 figures. That's my first goal,
Got it.
and then
Got
we'll
it.
get to 7.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, I got big goals and big aspirations, and hopefully I can achieve it soon. So.